Hi guys, in this video we will look at how to generate custom reports in Tesla SCADA 2. Moving on to the reports, we assume that you have already watched the video on how to set up and use databases and know how to do it. If not, then the link to this video is in the description. We have a simple example, a tank, in which we monitor two parameters, the fill level and the temperature. We created two tags, filling and temperature. We will store the values of these tags in the history database. In the tag properties, in the history tab, we have checked the appropriate box. We also created a history database and added tags filling and temperature, whose data will be recorded in the history database. That is, in our example, data on the tags filling and temperature will be accumulated in the history database, and events will be entered into a general event database of the SQLite type. Any report is generated for a certain period. To set the beginning and the end date of the report, we will need two helper tags, begin and end, with data type long. The time will be stored in milliseconds in them. We also need a helper tag interval through which we will set the time interval with which data will be requested for the report. For helper tags begin and end are created graphic objects on the screen, date and time selector, and for interval, text input field. We also need a button with the function build a report, but first we need to create and name the report. We'll return to set up its properties later. And now let's set up our button. Go to the object properties, tap Control, choose function build report, and choose necessary report. Now let's go back to setting up our report properties. Let's fill in the fields of the report. Name, format, orientation, number of columns. Here we mean the number of columns as in a newspaper. If you have a table of 2 or 3 narrow columns, but at the same time a table contains many rows, then you can arrange your table in several columns by indicating their number in this field and setting the space between them in the column space field. We'll use one column, margin. Margin on the right, left, top and bottom of the page. They are equal. You can also bind a script to a report. Styles. By default, several styles are already set for the title, for the column title, etc. You can change them or create new styles. Save, and next we move on directly to the report by double-clicking on it. The report in Tesla SCADA 2 is created in such a way that you can design its content based on your needs. The report consists of several parts, into each of which you can add the elements that you need. The title section. Let's click on plus and see what elements we have. We see 3 libraries with different elements. It is logical that we need to take a label element. Let's choose style, title, and set the text of our title. Width. If we leave 0, the width of the label will be equal to the page width. If necessary, you can set another value. We can also add more items to these sections. Let's add date and time element and build a string report is created on and set current date. Choose style. Here we can use system tag, system current date time. Width will leave this value 0. Format is okay for us. Text before. Text after will not fill here. Let's change style. You can press this button on the toolbar to see preview of the page. It's okay. Page header. If you have a multi-page report, then an element of this section will be present on each page. Let's add an element to date time values. And using this element, we'll create a string reporting period from begin to end. The first tag will choose begin and the second the end. Width 0 for Mart is okay. Text before. I don't like this style. Let's see how to add a new style. Go to Report Properties, Field Styles, and add new style period. Then go to our element and apply this style. It's much better. The next section is table. Here we have 3 elements. If you use a general history and events database, then use general history element. If history, as in our case, then use history database. If you want to create an events report, use this element. Now let's fill in all the fields of our table. Select our history DB, column title style, start date and time we'll get from our tag begin, end date and time we'll get from our tag end, time interval from tag interval. Let's highlight even row and set up our columns. Let our table have 3 columns: number, date and time, and filling. Columns can be of type tag, date time, and row number. Select row number. Width. Set the width carefully. If you choose the report format A4 and portrait, then the total width of the page is 595 pixels. We left 20 pixels for the margin on the right and the left. So we have 555 pixels in our disposal. Let's set 55 pixels for this column and 250 for the other two. And select Style, Row Style. Add. Let's add another column, date and time. Select Tag, Processing Type. If we set the interval to 60 seconds, there may be several tag values in the database in this interval. So choose which value to take. Let's take last value. Format is a number format. Integer, dot, and then the number of decimal places. You can set condition styles for the column of tag type. For example, if the tag's filling value is greater than or equal to 50, the cell will appear blue and font style will be bold. So we set up our columns: row number, date and time, and filling. The next field is condition styles. Here you can set styles in the same way, only in this case the entire row and not the cell will have the style. Moreover, if you define your style above for a cell, then the style of individual cell will have priority. Variables. We should save our settings to get access to our columns. Save and open again. Field variables. We can set variables for the table: minimum, maximum, average, and sum. Let's set 3 variables for our column filling. How to use variables we'll see later. The next section is page footer. Let's put the element here. Page number. If you have a multi-page report, then this section will be present on every page. Section summary. This section will be displayed after the end of our table. Let's add a variable element here. We have already created several variables when we filled out the table section. We can also add a diagram here. So we constructed our report. Let's see the preview. Save. We see that we need gaps between sections, and let's change this font. Let's add gaps. Save and let's see a preview again. It's okay. And to check how our report works, we need to fill the database with information. Run the simulation, and within a few minutes, I will set different values to the tags. I will partially cut out this moment so as not to waste time on it. So now we have data in the database. We see this at the trend object and on the events table. And now we can generate a report, set begin, end date, and interval. Now we received our report. Here is current date from system tag. Here is reporting period that we set in tags end and begin. We set interval to 16, so we get filling value every minute. Condition styles also applied. This cell is blue. I remind you that we set condition style if filling value is greater than 15. The cell is blue. Variables values were automatically calculated, and filling dynamics are shown in the diagram. We can set different interval if we want to get more or less data. Let's set 20. We see we get data in the table with interval 20 seconds. Let's stop simulation. I created 2 more reports, events report and tank report. Let's see them. To this report, we added another column to the table, temperature. We also added condition styles for cells. And the next report is Events Report. We added an Event Report table to the table section. Let's see this report. Run the simulation. Here is tank report. Here is temperature column. We see current filling of the tag, variables, and events report. The report can be printed or saved in several formats from preview. Let's save to PDF. Let's go to the folder and see our file. Here it is. You can also save any report to Excel, PDF, or in other format, or send it by email without using preview. To do this, you need to use a script, a helper tag, and a button with the push function. Let's look at an example of saving to Excel. We created a helper tag, send report filling, with type Boolean, and set the default value to false. We also bound this tag to the script, send report filling. Let's go to the script and see it. This script is of tag type and is executed on data change. The script is very simple, just one function, report to XLS. This function takes two parameters, the report name and the file name. Here are other functions which you can use when working with reports. This script is bound to the tag send report filling. When the tag's value is equal to 1 or true, the script will be executed. And now let's configure our button. Go to the Object Properties, tap Control, choose Tag Send Report Filling and function Push. So when the button is clicked, the tag value will be true, which will start the execution of our script. And when we release the button, the tag value will return to false again. And let's see where our file will be saved. Open Project Properties, tap Events and History, Report folder. There is where you need to look for our saved file. The download functions to the other reports are similar. Let's test them. Run the save and run the simulation. Go to the folder. Here we can see our reports. Events report, tank filling report, you can also send a report by email. For this, we need to use another function in the script. Let me show it. This function, report sent by email. And also you need to set up email tab in the project properties. Go to project properties, events and history, and email client tab. See our previous video to know how to do this. That's all. However, remember that the report section is only available for a full licensed Tesla SCADA 2. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact us by email or in our forum. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new videos. Thank you for watching.